Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today we're going to be taking a look at Mini Motorways on the Nintendo Switch. Now this one, it comes from Dinosaur Polo Club, and it recently launched at the Indie Direct. Now they were kind enough to sponsor today's video. They asked me to tell you all about this anticipated release. So without luck, hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. Dinosaur Polo Club then originally developed a title by the name of Mini Metro, a strategy simulation game with a minimalistic visual style all about designing subway maps for what is an expanding city, and this one, Mini Motorways, definitely feels like an extension and natural evolution of that idea. I've also linked to the eShop in the description and a pinned comment, so go take a look after the video if you think this one's gonna be for you. Its concept is simple enough to explain: draw roads for what is a growing city, a network, and connect those that live in these real life locations to their destination. Now how do you know where someone is going? It's because the destinations and the house colours, they actually match. Each house though dispatches drivers, and they of course need a road to travel on. Now as I said, look, simple enough to explain, but in execution it gets a whole lot more complicated. What I did appreciate immediately though is this: you can make Mini Motorways as stressful or as relaxed as you want it to be, and that is thanks to the ability to speed up or even freeze time. I made the mistake though jumping in of always having the game at top speed. I must be an impatient individual, but my cities would quickly get out of hand before showing me the dreaded game over screen. This basically informs you of how many trips have been completed and how many days your city remained active for. It's not just the roads you'll be managing here either. Expect to quickly see the introduction of motorways for a faster method of connection, particularly useful as houses start to appear miles away from their corresponding destinations. Traffic lights then, because congestion in this world very much a real thing, and the same can be said for roundabouts. Also expect things like bridges and tunnels, because as the locations they expand, you're going to start to see environmental obstacles, think like rivers or maybe even mountains. As I progressed into the game as well though, I found that I was kind of maxing out at about 1000 trips. What I didn't think about though, and this is kind of my first tip: redesign the city as you go, shorten roads, redesign their direction to benefit that traffic flow, and also use them even to block areas on the map where you don't want the next home or destination to randomly generate. The longer you go in the game, you see, the quicker the generation becomes. This would probably be easy if you had unlimited resources as well, but that's not the case here. On the left hand side of the screen, it explains the number of road pieces you have, alongside tunnels, bridges, traffic lights and roundabouts. Basically this one, it's as much about inventory management as it is strategically placing these pieces. If you do run out as well of a much needed piece, it definitely adds a dash of stress if you're in a rush to get that traffic moving along. Once things start to fall to pieces though, the game over screen will come quick. A timer begins if no cars arrive at an individual destination, so you basically need to connect it as quickly as possible. That's where you might need, let's say, a motorway. That's where I found though the skill in kind of the on the fly redesigns, they definitely benefited me. Can I sacrifice maybe some connections to quickly hook these ones up? Now that inventory then, it's not constantly limited either. At the end of each week you'll get the choice of one of two rewards. This could be, let's say, 30 road pieces or maybe 1 bridge and 10 road pieces. It's definitely random each time, so it's very much, well, let's say this, the game freezes in that moment, but it's not only about understanding what is happening in your city at this very moment, but it's also kind of, understanding what your next move is going to be, what you intend to build next. You need to kind of strategize at the same time. Mini Motorways though, seriously well respected, and yes, look, today's video, it is sponsored, but just take a look for yourself at the reviews out there. It's sitting at 87% on Metacritic for that Steam build, and then also on Steam it's got over 12,000 reviews with an overwhelmingly positive rating. That is impressive, but it's also with good reason. It's a formula that can be as relaxing or challenging as you want it to be, but either way still, it's completely addictive. Content wise then, it's rich. You'll be presented with 3 initial maps to overcome, with an additional 11 to unlock. Now that's simple enough. Complete the required trip count from the previous map. That starts at 300 trips and kind of escalates very slowly to 400. All of these maps as well, as I said, based on real life locations. Think Tokyo, Los Angeles, Manila, Warsaw, and the list goes on. Each of these maps then accompanied by a global leaderboard as well, which will no doubt drive those that are like me who get addicted to high score chasing to come back, and it's then even got challenges as well. These challenges they unlock after you successfully make it to 1000 trips on that map of choice. Mini Motorways in fact even has daily and weekly challenges, so you can continue to face off against that global community. And if you ever played previously on Steam, it actually has the ability to transfer across your Steam data with a cross-save functionality. That is though one way as a warning, the Switch data will not transfer back to Steam. It is worth knowing then as well that this is the most complete edition of the game available at time of launch. They updated all builds with what's called the Night Lights update. That was 2 brand new maps and headlights in night mode, an option you'll find in the pause menu. Controls then, and for many, handheld will be the way to go. That's because the game features fine-tuned touchscreen input that is perfect for dragging and dropping road and different items onto the map. I actually found myself personally using a combination of touchscreen and the actual, Joy-Con themselves. It was just the perfect setup for me personally. If you do want to play it docked though, I did that too a whole lot for this gameplay you are seeing on screen. It's simple enough though, you can either hold the button if you're using Joy-Con to drag pieces across the map, or even click and lock the selection in place from the menu. That's the mode I opted for personally, and you can do that for both creation and deletion. In the options menu then, you'll also find cursor sensitivity options, which I dialed up just slightly after a while with the game, and then also vibration, which actually came preset to off. Graphically then, it's minimalistic, but it looks great. The game's format of randomly generating locations on a map, it's then even constantly expanding with this simple but effective slow zoom out. It means you need these colours to kind of pop on screen so you can identify them quickly, and they absolutely achieve that. They use a world map that I'd describe as similar to an Apple Maps or Google Maps of the world. Seeing these cars automatically navigate though, seeing that traffic get worse and worse, there's some serious reward in that, especially as your city grows. And yeah, it gets pretty manic at times as you start to identify quickly locations with congestion due to the number of cars on the road. It kind of definitely plays into pointing you in the right direction of where you need to strategize next. Menus are clean then, and it's a game all about accessibility. There's a ton of languages, I'll mention that here, but also a colourblind mode and the ability to turn off the menu transitions, which is kind of this simple pan across a map. Audio finally then, it's super chill stuff here. They've built some minor, almost what sounds like environmental effects into the background just very slightly, but I'd definitely describe it overall as kind of a chilled electronic. It actually comes from Disaster Piece though, an artist who you should check out either way. He's featured in everything from Hollywood movies to other games, now most notably probably for me the incredible Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack. What's even more impressive about the music on offer here then is it's actually responsive. It's going to grow in complexity and its sound field as your city grows. It even has 3 options as well, should it not be for you as it builds up. You can have silent, you can have minimal, or you can have that full effect. Before we do close out then, I just want to give another shout out to Dinosaur Polo Club for sponsoring today's video. It's been an absolute pleasure to kind of sit back, unlock all of these maps, and this is now officially going into my high score chasing rotation. It is such a simple concept that can bend to fit most moods thanks to that ability to both slow down and speed up time. It looks great then as well, a docked or handheld, especially on an OLED screen in fact if you have that available to you. But I found both docked and handheld to be intuitive. I never felt at a disadvantage using a controller or vice versa for that, cursor placement. That said though, I will admit handheld is by far now going to be my go-to. It just feels very right for the experience. It's been on Steam though now for a while, again to great reviews. It was on Apple Arcade, same thing there, but the Switch feels like the perfect home for this one, and they just seem to have a formula here that absolutely works. Check out Mini Metro as well if you haven't already, if you want a maybe slightly different spin on this very same idea. Will you be adding this one to the library then? Have you picked it up already? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have picked it up, let me know your high scores as well. I'm pretty sure I am way behind the best out there right now, but I'm definitely curious to hear. Remember then, check out the link to the eShop for a deeper dive into the game as well, if this is going to be one for you. With that then, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch. As much as we will do here, join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.